Okay, so we were able to get rid of enum because enum doesn't allow us to pass in or emit information data as we go through each one of those types, right? The success, we want to be able to emit data that we want, okay? And we realize that having an abstract class and implement it for each of data classes. So we transformed all of the types in our enums, right? Remember, all the enums, we transformed them into something, into data classes. Of course, we got rid of a few, but the same concept is there, okay? When we do that, we were able then to, of course, pass the data, in this case, to emit data inside as a property, which means then when we go through the process of loading and getting data, for instance, if success, we can pass the data fetched, that information, we can pass the information as we go through, okay? So in this case here, you can see if success is detected, we pass that information along to be emitted, and so forth. All right, so this is really good. However, we notice by extending our result abstract class here, we acquire this liberty, which is be able to emit information, emit data as we go through in our state machine. So we can present the states differently. But then we notice that we have an issue inside of our when expression here, because now we have to pass an else, because the compiler assumes that all these states are not exhaustive, meaning it assumes there must be more than what we have added here. That's why we must pass an else. Now to solve this, we use another class type called sealed. So what sealed will provide, it will provide best really of the both world. So we'll get the freedom of representing our states differently, right? Emitting data and so forth. But we'll also get rid of the restrictions we have with enums. So it's going to be a win-win. Now, what is a sealed class? Okay, a sealed class is an abstract class, right? With a restricted class hierarchy, which means classes that inherit from it have to be in the same file as a sealed class. Now, the have to be in the same file is no longer true because now you can actually have these classes in a different file. But in most cases, you will see when we create these sealed classes, anything that inherits from it, usually we put them inside the same file or close to it. That way it makes sense, it's readable, and it works. But these classes don't have to be in the same file as the abstract class, in this case, sealed class. Again, as the name implies, sealed means this class is going to be restricted, which is fine, because this also allows us freedom in state representation, which is what we gain. So how do we change or how do we create a sealed class? Well, all we do, we remove this abstract and say sealed. And remember, now one thing to remember is that a sealed class still is an abstract class. Now, once we change to sealed, you see that when we go to our branch, look at this. Now else no longer is necessary. If you hover over, it's going to say when is exhaustive. So else is redundant. Why? Because we made it sealed to say all of these states that we created here are exhaustive. That's why we no longer need that. So we can actually just get rid of that. And voila. And just like that, we've solved the problem. If we run this, we see the results are still the same. But we know now that we've solved all the problems, all the limitations of enum, and also we've solved the limitation of having to add an else branch here because the compiler would think that this is not exhaustive list. And the great thing about sealed classes, as you see here, this is very simplistic. Sealed classes can also nest data classes, right? Can nest classes, objects, and also other sealed classes, right? Let's say we create a different sealed class. Let's write about here. I'm going to go ahead and say something like this. Okay, sealed class, I'm going to call this failure, just as an example. And this one here will implement result, right? This other sealed class here. And so what I'm going to do here then, inside here, I'm going to actually have another data classes, which will implement this failure here, which this one implements this result, right? So in this case, I can say, for instance, data class, custom failure, for instance, and I'm going to pass a message here, exception, right? Let's look, sure, that's fine. And of course, this will go ahead and inherit from failure like this. Okay. So I'm customizing things here. I'm going to say data class, another one, and say another custom failure. And say val, another custom failure. And in this case here, it's going to be pointer exception. Okay, doesn't really matter. We can just pass any type just to show you differences here. These two obviously will inherit failure as such. Let's close this down. And the moment these are added, you can see right away inside of our when, if you have an over, it's going to say, hey, when expression must be exhaustive, add necessary is another custom failure, is custom failure branches or else branch. See? So it tells right away that, okay, something was added in our sealed, right, classes. And so those need to be added. And I can go ahead and say add like this, but we don't want else, right? I want to add the other failures. So I can just go ahead and get rid of this and say is failure. Let's say is failure that another custom failure as such. If that's the case, I'm going to print ln, say load state dot another custom failure, and then I can say dot to string like this, and I can say is failure dot custom failure and say dot, and then if that's the case, I'm going to say print ln, say result custom failure, and then I'm going to pass a message or just say to string like this to show there. And then we can go to our repository and add those functions, or just one, and you can add the other one. So you see, I can say fun custom failure like this, right? I can say load state is going to be equal to failure dot, let's use the another custom failure like this and pass the data, say another custom failure. It's going to be a null point exception like this, something went wrong. All right, and then the next one, fun another custom failure, and I can say load state is equal to failure that, in this case is custom failure. Let's just say this is custom failure. All right, custom failure, and then pass the custom failure. It's going to be an IO exception, and I'm just going to pass custom failure. This is just an example, by the way. All right, so then our repository is ready. I can go out here. I can add these guys, say start repository, all right, and say another custom failure, right, and then get result just to show it. So result, I'm just going to say repository dot get current state, and then again repository custom failure, and then get result, pass result value here, repository dot get current state. All right, so if we run this, we should see these other states showing. Okay, so you can see loading data, and then we get the Java exception, and then we get the null pointer exception, something went wrong, and then we get the custom failure. And just like that, you were able to leverage sealed classes even further. So what we've learned so far, well, we learned about enum classes. So I showed you how to use enum classes to create a decent state machine. Okay, but next we encountered a limitation in enum classes. We noticed that they lack the freedom to represent our state differently, meaning if we want to emit information, emit data in our states, we couldn't do that with enum. So we solved this by using abstract classes. And then we realized that even though abstract classes are better than enums in those terms because the restriction that enums pose. But then we realize that we've lost something by using abstract class, in that now when we use our when expression, we have to pass the else, right? Else branch, which is not ideal. We changed that to a sealed class, and that gave us the best of the both worlds. So now we don't have the restrictions of enums. Also, we don't have these exhaustive options when we use the when expression. Okay, so I hope this gave you a little bit of an idea, but understanding why we would use an enum and how to improve our state machine here. And this concept here, it's used a lot in Kotlin. So I would take some time to look into this to really understand what's going on, because it really will help you in your Kotlin Android development, or as you use Kotlin in general. Okay, thank you. I'll see you next.